Okay. Okay. It's okay, cat.
Unfortunately, black cats are often considered a superstition and are often less likely to be adopted from shelters. In reality, many cultures have different beliefs about black cats. In fact, seeing a black cat has been associated with luck, both good and bad, for thousands of years. Back in early Egyptian times, dating as far back as 3000 BC, cats, including black ones, were the rock stars of the animal world, held in high regard. To even kill one was considered a capital crime. It wasn't until the Middle Ages in Europe that the black cat rock star status started to go downhill as they began to be associated with so-called witches. The hysteria of witches had just hit Europe, and alley cats, including black ones, were fed and cared for by the poor, lonely old ladies who were suspected to be witches. Their cats, some which were black, were deemed guilty by association. It was also believed that witches could turn themselves into black cats at night. The stories of these witches being able to turn into black cats to be able to prowl the streets unnoticed also became a central belief in America during the Salem witch hunt. Even today, the imagery of witches with pointy hats and black cats are common during Halloween, despite the holiday's religious beginnings.
Wait! So in Fiji as well, the black cat superstition is very real. People think black cats are bad luck. They think it's a bad omen. It's black magic related. And so we are actually gonna set out to debunk this myth. But before I do, I have an experiment. So I've actually put this poster together. I think it's so cute. So I put this poster together. Which cat would you adopt if given the chance? And I'm gonna head out to the streets and ask people which one they would pick. As you can see, there's a black cat right here. So yeah, so I'm actually interested to know if people are gonna pick the black cat or any other cat. I think black cats get picked the least from shelters. They get adopted the least. So before we go to a vet and find out if the myth is true or false, let's just head out to the streets and put our theory to the test. Let's do it.
So we set out to ask the people of Suva which cat they would adopt if given the chance, just by looking at their picture.
So I've got a poster here, right? Which cat would you adopt if given the choice? And this is just on looks, like even if you don't like cats, which one would you pick?
I'll pick this one.
Okay, so you would pick that one and this one. Okay, so sorry, what was your name?
Wanga.
Wanga. So Wanga is gonna pick this one, and Junior. Junior will pick that one, right? Yes. Or was it the other way around? Okay. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Which cat would you adopt if given the chance? And oh yeah, just that. Just by the looks of it, which one would you adopt?
This one.
Okay. Right. That's one. Okay. Right. Cool. You as well, that one? Okay, cool. Which cat would you adopt if you were given the choice? Which one? This one, okay. What about you? The ginger one? Is there a reason why you picked the ginger one?
It's kind of cute.
It's cute. And how about you? Why did you pick?
No, it's one thing that's been nice.
Yeah? Okay. That one? And what about you? This one. Which cat would you adopt, just based on looks, and why? The black one? Okay, because you like the way it looks?
We used to have a cat named Midnight.
What was
Midnight.
it? Midnight, and it was black.
Picking,
Yeah?
you can pick the good ones. How about the weakest one?
How about the weakest one?
Yeah.
But this experiment is for the looks, for the way they look.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
which
look
one?
at it. Okay. But everyone like the good ones.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I know. Yeah. But if you had to pick one, which one?
I pick this one here.
This one. Because of the colors?
The colors is, I think that's readable and understandable.
Yeah.
Between the pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No worries, no working for it, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Hi. How are you? Can I ask you a question? Yeah. If you had to pick a cat, which one would you pick? Which one would you pick? That one? You? That one? Okay. And you? That one. All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, Mr. Black Kitty did not win the polls, but he did get a few good votes because people thought he looked really cool. But now for the final verdict from experienced veterinarian Dr. Kim Kodaka.
Dr. Kim is here from the US. She's here with the claws program with the SPCA, helping to de-sex the animals of Fiji and doing outreach clinics. Now, Dr. Kim is going to help me debunk this myth.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. Is it fact or fiction? You tell me.
It's definitely fiction. It's definitely fiction. I have, first of all, 3 black cats. So
right.
I'm talking from experience. I know. You know, I don't know. It is a superstition, a mythical thing.
Yeah.
Black magic, and just by their color, they're tainted with a bad reputation.
Right.
I actually personally think that they're as friendly. I personally think they're friendlier than others, but you know, it is a big problem.
Yeah.
We have Halloween in the States, so a lot of the times we actually have to promote for people to keep their black cats away. We find we don't actually always find homes around that time of the year. You know, we
At
wait.
the shelters, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And black cats sometimes are the last cats to be adopted from a litter, which is really unfortunate, and it's 100% superstition. They're wonderful.
You said you have 3 black cats. You're not a witch, right?
No,
She's definitely not a witch.
not a witch, or I'm a bad witch.
No, but thank you so much for debunking that myth for us, guys. It's literally just the color of their fur, right?
Right, a litter of cats,
Yeah.
actually. So a female cat and a male cat can have a litter, and you can have a variety of colors. You can have white, gray, torty, striped, black, orange. So they come from the same genes, they come from the same parents, and they're no different from their siblings except for the color of their fur.
There we go. Fact or fiction, Mythbusters, myth busted.
Busted.
Now that that's out of the way, let's continue on from our first episode with our visit to the SPCA with Clinic Manager Chanel.
My name is Shanila Ryan. Basically, I manage the clinic and shelter, so it's separate. It's clinic and shelter, so I manage both of them. I have been in the field for probably, I think, 6 years now. I started as an intern here at SPCA, so this is where I got my training, and then I went off for some time. I worked for private sector, and then I was back in shelter medicine. They call it shelter medicine because basically it's dealing with the shelter. So there is private clinics, private practice where normally they deal with private clients, paying clients, and then we have shelter medicine, and we also have mixed practice. So ours is sort of mixed practice. We see shelter animals, companion animals, and also deal with large farm animals. So yeah, I've been in the field for 6 years, and it has been a great journey. I got to learn from a lot of vets, a lot of technicians, nurses I've worked with, great volunteers, and yeah, like a whole bunch of a lot of people. SPCA started in 1953. It has been open and running for 66 years now. It's one of the eldest and oldest, I would say, one of the oldest and biggest shelter in Fiji so far. Basically, it started off as a 10-cage kennel with a clinic. So you must have walked around our shelter and seen how big it is now. But when it was originally started, it only started with 10 cages. A group of people got together and they were concerned about there was not actually any veterinary service or clinic available. So they started SPCA. It started as a small group and then eventually you must have seen how big it has gone today. Our basic aim from the very beginning was to be able to provide affordable veterinary service to our clients, like people who can access veterinary service for their pets and don't have to pay huge amount for it, and at the same time run a shelter with it. So get stray dogs from street, client surrenders, city council trapping pound animals and everything, and find them homes. So basically that has been our goal to try. We are more into shelter now, so try to rehome all these stray dogs in the street, attend to like city council trapping, ministry of trapping, agriculture trapping, like whatever animals is trapped, to try to rehome them. So yeah, it has been a pretty long journey, but it had been a really wonderful journey for SPCA.
Coming up, we learn about the importance of cooking a balanced meal for our pets. Shanil and Anna show us how they cook dinner for all the adult animals at the shelter.
Feed our shelter animals 3 times a day. Morning is biscuits and right in the afternoon is biscuits. During the daytime we give them a cooked meal, because mostly when we adopt animals out, clients have complained that the dogs are too used to eating the biscuits and the tin food that they don't know about the cooked food. So we have introduced the cooked food in the shelter. So once a day the shelter team, they prepare the food. It's balanced out. The recipe has been made by a set of veterinary team who has set together, and they've worked like a food recipe, whatever is available locally here. So the dogs get the best nutrition, and at the same time they have their food. So we use cabbage, green vegetables. So we also use bele if bele is available and in season. Okay. There is carrots and pumpkin. So we mix both carrot and pumpkin if it's available. Meat, we have chicken today. We also use fish, so we keep changing it so they don't get bored with the food. So, and we have meters as well from the shop, so it's easily you can buy it from the supermarket, like they sell the meters, but you have to always it's not doesn't have the full nutrition, so you have to include another source of protein. So normally we either add chicken or we add fish, whatever is available from the supermarket and in our budget. And we also add dal. We also have dal, so dal is also a source of protein, and if your dog is vegetarian, like some people are vegetarian, so we have dal here as well. And then the last bit is the rice. We use rice, also pea meal. Today we don't have pea meal available, we also put pea meals in there. And basically we have to cook for roughly around 120 to 150 dogs in the shelter. So the shelter team, it's a routine, it takes 2 to 3 hours to prepare the food. And it has to be cooled down before they feed it. And so Anna's gonna do the cooking for our shelter dog. At the moment we have around 50 big dogs. The cooked meal we normally feed the bigger dogs and bigger cats, and not puppies and kittens. Puppies and kittens, they stay on full-time puppy biscuits and wet food. So it's balanced out and they're getting the proper nutrition, because when they're growing up, same as babies, they need the proper nutrition. So so we try to feed them biscuits and tin food, and we introduce the cooked food once they're 6 months and over, so we start feeding them. So at the moment we have around 60 dogs in the back who need to be fed cooked food. So Anna's gonna start by boiling the meat first, I think. So yeah, she's gonna do that. Okay.
So we'll put the meat dust in first, and the chicken.
So, I mean, for those of you watching at home, this is one way you could, cook. Obviously not this much if you don't have 60 dogs.
This is one way you could be preparing your meals for your loved ones, your furry babies.
Yes. So
And the chicken.
Anna has already measured out all the amount we need to. So we actually have the recipe available with us in the front desk. So if anybody needs the recipe, they can always contact SPCA and you can email your recipe. Whole diet how it's supposed to be followed. And it has to be measured out as well, same as how we measure our food, how much you're supposed to eat and everything.
Yeah.
It's the same as a dog. So if it's a 20 kg dog, how much is all required? You just have to weigh and cook according to that.
Okay.
You can also cook in large quantity and freeze it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like people defreeze it and you can take it out, warm it up and then feed it.
Right.
And cooked food can also go with the biscuits. If you're feeding your dog biscuits, you can also mix it with a bit of cooked food. So it's also exciting for them. You know, like dogs also get bored like just eating biscuits all the time.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on that. So we'll get to that in a bit, like what to feed your dog, how much to feed, when to feed. Like at different ages, they get fed different things, like you were saying. But this is, I don't know if you guys caught what Chanel was saying just then, but he said that the recipe for these things are available on your SPCA website.
Yeah.
And you can also call them or email them and get the recipe if you don't know how to cook. So sometimes I have like 5 dogs, so I buy a bulk of meat dust. That's what I do, and I just portion it while it's still defrosted.
Yeah.
So I portion it out, and then you do things like stews and you change it up a little bit because you're right, they do get kind of bored. So like for example, you said for the babies, the 6 months up till about 6 months, they have a different kind of food, right?
Yes. So
And how many, like, what is their food and how many times do you have to feed them in a day?
So mostly puppies, when they're smaller puppies, up to 8 weeks,
Right.
which is 2 months. It's normally they feed on the mother.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be feeding on the mother's milk.
Yeah.
After that, normally what we introduce is teen puppy wet food.
Right.
So basically, there's a wet food which you're supposed to introduce first.
That's like
And
a teenager.
still like 8 weeks old, and then you can also
Right.
introduce puppy biscuits. If once they have the teeth, they can start
Yeah.
eating biscuits.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say the biscuits are a bit hard, they're not able to eat it.
Yeah.
So what you can do, you can wet it. You can just add warm water and it will wet. It
Yeah.
will soften the biscuits, the kibbles, and the puppies can eat that too. And then later on, normally in our shelter, we mix biscuits and wet food together and feed that to the
Right.
puppies until they're 6 months.
Yeah.
And then once they're 6 months, we start introducing there's a second stage, we start introducing the larger dog kibble, the walking dog kibbles, so you can introduce them. Sometimes I understand people feed table scrap and whatever's available, like not everybody can afford dog biscuits, but like as I said, whatever ingredients we're using, it could be also be available at home. Like you can use dal, bele, you can plant it in your backyard. Same as pumpkin. All these ingredients are cheap and they're available locally. Rice and meat dust, you can get it for like $1.15 a kg at one of these supermarkets. So the ingredients we're using, they're pretty cheap and they're available everywhere. So people can actually get these and then feed the dogs. We don't have anything fancy or anything expensive, which I understand a lot of people in Fiji are not able to afford it. But the diet we actually have, it's very affordable.
And how many times do young dogs, well, I don't know how you separate them, how many different age categories, but like how many times a day are they supposed to be fed?
So in shelter, the puppies are fed 4 times.
Yeah.
So we do morning, like when we're cleaning up, they have the morning breakfast, and then we have do lunch.
Yeah.
And then afternoon they get like a supper. They get it at around 4. They get some food, the biscuits and stuff, and then we do dinner. So we do 4 times a day.
Oh, okay.
For adult dogs, we do 3 times a day.
Okay.
So morning, lunch, and afternoon. Some of the clients, they feed their dogs just once a day because they don't really have time, which is also okay. But mostly when we eat 3 times a day, so the dog is also probably hungry. You can feed them all at once, but then again you have to think like they probably will be hungry for the rest of the day or overnight till next day. So it's best to feed them probably twice a day if that works with your schedule, morning and afternoon. And if you can do 3 times a day, that will be also good. But mostly it's recommended to do twice a day.
Yeah, okay. For adults.
For adult dogs, puppies it's 3 times a day. They're like babies; they get hungry, so you have to feed them.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is something important that people have to remember is that animals are like babies. Especially when they are a little bit younger, you do have to take care of them. I always remind people they are like children. So if you and they're like you. So if you remember to eat 3 times a day, your pets have to eat 3 times a day, or adults twice. We can. If you can do 3 times or 100 times, that's great. But if you can't, then at least twice. And for smaller ones,
3 or 4 times a day. If you have any questions, you can always call up SPCA and ask, and get these sort of informations.
2 hours later.
That looks delicious.
Yes, so basically our meals are prepped as clean and as nutrition as possible that actually humans can consume it, but we don't eat it. But it has to be so well prepared, and then Anna's gonna dish it out and let it cool down. So they let it cool down for an hour once it's cool, and then they're gonna serve it to all the animals. And some of them, if there's any requirements like any medication that has to go, so they'll put it there. The clinic team will also come and have a look at it, and they'll add some other stuff.
Wow. Okay, bon appetit, puppies and cats. Maybe even me. That does look delicious. Stay tuned. Coming up after the break, the SPCA team give us some tips and tricks on how to groom your furry friends.
Okay, so we're gonna do grooming on Baxter. Baxter is one of our clients' dog. As you can see, he's a pure breed German Shepherd. Pure breed German Shepherd, normally they have thick coat and long hair, so they need brushing probably they need brushing once a week, but the client brings it in once a month for us to like a full grooming on it. So basically what we do is do a full grooming. Normally brush the dog, give it a nice shower, clean its ears, check the teeth at the same time for any cavity or anything. Make sure it doesn't have any ticks or fleas on it. If it has, then we recommend treatment to the client. Also nail clipping. Sometimes dogs, their nails grow bigger, and sometimes it grows into the skin, so we also clip the nails. So today we have Shiv Neil and our intern Saini, who are going to do a basic grooming and just show a few of the things you can do at home to keep your pet clean. We have different kinds of brush with us. We have the small, the inner fur one, which normally we use to get all the knots out and any fur, anything. We also have the bigger ones. Normally, if the dog has longer hairs, like if we have German Shepherd, sometimes we get Maltese, Poodles for grooming, so you can use different brush for different one. So for him, we're just gonna use a simple. One of the simple brushes and just brush out his fur. So Shiv is going to do that. Normally we do that, and people complain all the time, or the dog is shedding a lot of hair and they have hair all over the furniture. So basically for this kind of breed you have to brush them, and also like any other particular breed you have, you need to brush it out, or else you're going to end up with lots of fur on your furniture. So you can see this is what we got out for now, just by 2 strokes. So we do a full general grooming. We get everything out. Also, what we do is check up of the ears to make sure they're nice and clean. They also get wax in there, and what happens if water goes inside or there's too much wax built up inside the ear, it can result into a really bad ear infection. So you can use a swab. You can get it from the pharmacy, just a cotton bud, and just make sure all the wax is out of the ear. So Sain is going to show you how it's done. So make sure to get like whatever wax you can see on the top, get it out. And if there's too much wax and your dog is not letting you do it, then it's best to contact a vet and bring it to the veterinarian so they can do it. Okay. So you can see on the swab how dirty it is. So basically try to get that all out, because once it stays there for too long, it's going to end up into a really bad ear infection, and it's also irritating for the dog. Also we do a dental checkup while the dog is here. Oh, it's okay, Baba. There you go. So Shivi, can you check the teeth? We do a dental checkup to make sure there's no cavity build up or anything, or there's any rotten teeth or anything. So he's gonna show you the teeth. Looks pretty good, I think, so on this one. So you can see it's all nice and clean. It still looks really good, so it doesn't need any dental or anything. Mostly older dogs we take a careful look because we need to scale it and make sure it's nice and clean so the teeth can last longer for the animal. It's same as us as we go to the dentist. So in veterinary medicine, mostly what happens, the vet covers everything. You're basically all around. You are the dentist, you are the surgeon, you are the consultant. So you basically do everything. Other thing normally we do is check the nails. If the nails are too big, he needs clipping. But for him, I think so it's pretty short, so it doesn't need any nail clipping. If your animal is not really comfortable, try to have treats and stuff, so you can give it treats. And normally we advise when they're young, like smaller puppies, you start doing it and you reward the animal for it every time once it's finished. So he knows, like in the end of the whole procedure, he's gonna get a reward. So the animal is gonna be more cooperating with you, trying to like let you do it. Even for washing, a lot of people just drag the dog under the tap and start washing it. No, you try to reward. So if you give a reward to your pet after the whole thing, so it's less. They won't be that scared, you know. So and they will cooperate with you as well. Use a less pressure hose or something. You start being gentle, so get the dog wet. If it's not cooperating, then you can use water out of a bucket or just a bottle, and then use the shampoo. You can get the shampoos from the pharmacy, you can pick it up from one of your vet clinics, you can pick it from our office as well. You also have to be a bit mindful. Certain of the products like the shampoos they use in Fiji, it's meant for larger dogs, not for puppies. So it's a very common mistake. We see it all the time when clients they use adult dog shampoo on a puppy, and then they come in complaining that the puppy is losing their hair. So it's gonna actually lose hair because the chemicals and whatever ingredients are in there, it's too harmful for the puppy's skin. You know, it's just a baby. So please be mindful when you're picking up your shampoos. Also, you lather the shampoo nicely into the dog. The instructions are mostly in the shampoo how it's supposed to be used. Sometimes you have to leave it for 10 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, and then gently wash it off. If you're washing a puppy, anything normally we recommend below the amount of 3 months. Try to use warm water for them, lukewarm water, because they normally lose body temperature when you wash them, and the puppy can end up getting too cold, you know. So it's best to use warm water. Also for cats, mostly people say cats are not supposed to be washed. Yes, they groom themselves. We normally don't wash cat, but if they're small kittens and they're still tiny and they poop, and you can do it like once a month or something. It's a bit difficult to wash cats. You can use a wipe or something and just wipe them off. Just use a gentle wipe and just wipe the whole animal off.
Coming up next week, we'll give you all the dates on common household poisons that could harm your pets.
A lot of people leave chocolate out, like on the counter, in the freezer and stuff. Even if the animal gets hold of the chocolate, it's really poisonous and deadly for them as well.